Good evening, brothers, and happy J5. Brother Range exemplifies achievement with over 35 years of experience in governmental and higher education administration. Range has paved the way as a primary leader and planner and administrator for various programs that strengthen HBCU programs. Initiated Epsilon Epsilon of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated during spring of 1981. Range holds the highest awards for service from both the Northport Alumni Chapter and the Southern Province, and received the Grand Pole Marks Appreciation Award for his continuous outstanding service to Kappa and the community at large. Range was recently awarded the Elder Watson Diggs Award, the second highest award for achievements. Brother Range is an amazing asset to the bond. With his busy schedule, he still makes time to give to the fraternity and the community. Finally, Brother Range is an actively involved member of the award-winning Northport Alumni Chapter. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brother Ronald E. Range.
We are one, 5 chapters, One Kappa. And thank you, Brother Smith, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you for condensing it. Because I didn't want my introduction to be longer than my speech. And those of you who work in education know that we go to the extreme with our resumes and visas. We list every certificate of appreciation, participation, and association that we may have obtained in our whole entire life. Protocol having been established, I would like to take a point of personal privilege and recognize the 12th Southern Province Pole Mark, Jason M. Jones, Esquire. Also, I would like to recognize all silhouettes, members of the Divine Nine, chapter officers, guests, and brothers all. Good afternoon. It's an absolute honor for me to be before you to share this momentous occasion. The 114th founding of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, the greatest fraternity known to man and loved by woman. Hey, I don't see the makers smiling, staying shambling. It's even more special that today is the actual founding day of Kappa Alpha Psi, January 5th, or better known as J5. Before I go any further, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the planning committee. You all did an excellent job in planning this event. And the planning committee consists of both members from the Tuscaloosa and Northport alumni chapters. We sincerely appreciate the dedication and effort that you put into this endeavor, in spite of not so supportive energy thrown your way. You had a game plan and you stuck to it, and this is the fruition of the work that you all did. So thank you. And additionally, I thank the silhouettes for your invaluable participation in the planning and execution of this event. Brother Gregory Hurst, I see you back there hiding behind the monitor. Thank you for voluntolding me to be today's speaker. After all these years, you still think that you're the boss of me. But you don't, but you're not. You know, I could get back at you by standing up here with this mic in front of me. You know, there's a saying that he who has the mic gets the last laugh. But since you're controlling the volume, the audio on this side, you're still the boss. But remember that I've known you since the days of Tuscaloosa Junior High School and Tuscaloosa High School, affectionately known as T-High. Don't forget that I probably have pictures of you walking around in bell bottoms and plaits in your hair. I want to see you plait your hair now. And I still remember how you used to stand in the front hallway with Ronnie Jackson, Coco, and Redfire, just terrorizing people as they walked by. But I digress. John Kenneth Washington. There you go. I got a bone to pick with you too. But let me set this up though. Younger years in high school, I thought I was a superb athlete, had great athletic abilities in the neighborhood. I had a very brief career on Tuscaloosa High's football team, wide receiver. I was about this height, weighed maybe 125 pounds. So, you know, they call, what's his name, Devontae Smith, wide receiver, Philadelphia Eagles. They called him the Slim Reaper. So that was me back then. And we were at practice one day, full pads, and I saw Scott McGee, who was the hardest hitting linebacker in the state of Alabama at that time. He just leveled Bobby Marks, just took him out, laid him out. And that ended my football career. So some of you are going to catch on to that a little later, but I'll let it massage with you. But getting back to John Kenneth Washington. One day we went up to Stillman on their tennis courts and played tennis. You know, I thought that I could play tennis pretty good because I, would beat the little 9 and 10-year-old kids in my neighborhood. And so, by this time I'm 30. And so Wash and I went to Stillman, played tennis. I tell you, he drugged me up and down that court. I could not hit the ball over the net, couldn't return serve, couldn't do anything. He just beat the dickens out of me. And so finally, he got a little merciful and said, let's wrap this up, let's go. It's getting dark. So mind you, it was about 2:30 in the afternoon. But I appreciate you taking mercy on me and making me go home. But I still remember. In fact, I want to challenge you now to a rematch. I think I can get you. As I move forward in my speech, I would like to share a note of caution. Although I'm by no means a seasoned orator or particularly eloquent speaker, I do bring a wealth of experience in public speaking, having engaged in it for many, many years. In fact, I can still remember the very first speech that I gave and that thrill that I felt after I gave the speech. And it fueled my eagerness to want to get on the stage more and more. In my speech, like to hear it? Well, here it goes. Good morning. I just came to say, have a happy Easter day. You would have thought that I was delivering the I Have a Dream speech. It was such a thrill. And I still remember how proud my mother was sitting there in the front pew where you ladies are, you beautiful Alpha Kappa Alpha ladies are sitting right now. Her saying, "Go ahead, boy, go ahead. There goes my baby." Now, recognizing that I stand between you, Sunday dinner for some of you, and NFL football playoff games, I'll respect the 3 B's of public speaking, which are be brief, be short, and be gone. Or sit your butt down. But if you would embellish me for a moment, I would like to acknowledge 3 brothers who had a profound effect on me during my undergraduate days at Stillman College and also in later life, where they unselfishly served as my mentors. Dr. Cordell Wynn, who was president of Stillman College at the time, and because of his great vision, he saved a desolate institution. He turned it around. And because of his leadership and his vision, he was able to provide many wonderful opportunities for legions of students such as myself. His first year as president of Stillman College was my first year as a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. Now, we both learned from each other, although I benefited more from his wisdom than he did from mine. And over the years, we were able to establish a very close relationship, a kinship, a bond from which I'm most grateful for. Next, Dean of Students at Stillman College, Reverend Dr. Willie Clyde Jones. Dean Jones instilled a confidence in us and taught us that we had the potential to aspire to great heights and that we could accomplish anything that we put our minds and our hearts to. Reverend Jones and I also developed a very good friendship over the years, to the point where I would call him Willie Clyde behind his back. And finally, and not last, or not least, Amos Hubbard, who was director of Upward Bound program at the time. He showed us how to display class and dignity and how to respect humanity and have humility. All 3 of these gentlemen were different in respect of their personalities, but they all had a great passion for Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. Little did they know the moments that they shared to provide wisdom or whether to admonish me. They also gave me words of encouragement. They instilled in me a sense of altruism and a drive to succeed in all my endeavors. I don't think I could have asked for 3 better mentors. Their unwavering commitment to students, along with their principles and integrity, continues to inspire me on my journey through life. To my fellow Greeks, I share this not only as a tribute to them, but also to emphasize that as members of the Divine Nine, we never know who's observing us or whose lives we may be influencing or impacting. We should all strive to be the best versions of ourselves. Now, a little more about the speaker, so you'll understand why you're not getting a sophisticated, eloquent, I have a dream type of speech. You see, during my days at Stillman College, I was a fairly decent student from Sunday night until Thursday afternoons. I went to class during the day, worked during the evenings, had designated study hours at night. I was a model student, but then on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, I transformed into my alter ego, Lone Ranger, Mr. Party all the time. I would venture over to the Ada Chi chapter at the University of Alabama and hang out with the brothers with their Boy You Know You Wild parties, step shows, and cookouts. I road trip to Gamma Phi, Alabama A&M University, hung out at Buchanan Dorm, and those of you that went to A&M know the significance of Buchanan Dorm, and hung out at the CAD, where I was introduced to the legendary chapter advisor, Mr. Clyde Mullins. Mr. Mullins was the advisor during the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and part of the 90s. And Brother Providence Polmar, thank God somebody saw fit to relieve him of his duties. Because otherwise he probably would still be chapter advisor at Gamma Phi. On some Thursday nights, I would visit the Beta Zeta chapter at Alabama State University. And so you have to understand that Thursday nights were reserved for the Noops at the Top Flight nightclub. The club was a very, very popular venue, and it was owned by a brother who went by one name, Squirrel. It was an absolute event with Kenny, is it live or is it Memorex G? I even attended my first Providence Council in Tampa hours after being initiated. Somehow I survived all of that fun, and here I am today, speaking to a group of very august people. Who would have thunk it? A little boy from Southside, the 8th polemark of the Southern Province, past member of the Grand Board of Directors, the 117th Elder Watson Diggs awardee, the second highest honor bestowed upon a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. I often tell the story of how I feel very fortunate with the opportunities I've had in Kappa. You see, oddly enough, all I ever wanted to do was to be the one who made the Kappa punch. The Kappa punch for the parties. All right, don't judge. See, I wanted to be the one to mix the ingredients in a 50-gallon plastic garbage can. You see, that was a very important job, because if the punch was right, a good time was had by all. Undergrads, you always set goals in life, but sometimes you have to pivot. You know, I didn't get to make the Kappa punch, so I focused on other things in the fraternity. And maybe that was a good thing. Now, to transition to what I'm supposed to be talking about. And in the words of Socrates, to achieve a good reputation, one must strive to embody the quality one wishes to be associated with. Since its founding on January 5th, 1911, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated has exemplified this principle. Established at Indiana University by 10 college students, Elder Watson Diggs, Byron Kenneth Armstrong, John Milton Lee, Henry Turner Asher, Marcus Peter Blakemore, Guy Levis Grant, Paul Wayman Kane, John Wesley Edmonds, Ezra D. Alexander, and Edward Giles Irving. The fraternity has built a strong reputation as men of distinction, vision, and achievement over the years. The fraternity was initially named Kappa Alpha Nu, which potentially was a tribute to the black students of the Alpha Kappa Nu fraternity, which was established at Indiana University October 9th, 1903. Despite being referred to as a Greek fraternity in the newspaper reports between 1903 and 1905, They had elected officers. They had a constitution aimed at creating branches of chapters at prominent black institutions. The organization was never formally incorporated and existed for only 14 months. Its mission was to strengthen the voice of the black race at the university and in the city of Bloomington, Indiana. Alpha Kappa Nu was recorded to be the third black collegiate fraternity founded in the United States. The earliest known black fraternity would be Beta Kappa Sigma, founded sometime in the late 1880s at Wilberforce University in Wilberforce, Ohio. The Delta Omega fraternity attempted to be formed at the University of Kansas by 20 pioneering black students in 1898. Since 1906, Black Greek letter organizations have developed a rich and storied reputation for excellence that spans over a century. These organizations are deeply rooted in the commitment of distinction, vision, and achievement, which has formed the cornerstone of our legacy. Their commitment to distinction, vision, and achievement has been central to their legacy, particularly evident through their philanthropic efforts. Black Greek letter organizations actively engage in initiatives that uplift communities, contributing to education, health, and social justice. Their enduring dedication to service and leadership continues to inspire generations, solidifying their role as vital agents of positive change in society. This commitment not only showcases their leadership within the African American community, but also highlights their role as vital agents of positive change in society at large. Throughout their history, Black Greek letter organizations have continuously inspired generations, fostering a spirit of service and excellence that remains a hallmark of their mission today. Now, back in 1947, around 10,000 African Americans were enrolled in college. This was a time when segregation and systemic racial discrimination severely restricted access to higher education for black students in the United States. The majority of these students attended historically black colleges and universities, which were among the few institutions that offered opportunities for African Americans during this period. The GI Bill, introduced after World War II, contributed to the rise in enrollment, although black veterans encountered substantial obstacles in accessing this GI Bills and its benefits. As of 2024, over 1.6 million African American students are enrolled in undergraduate programs in the United States, and another 309,000 are enrolled in graduate programs. And estimating the number of members in Black Greek letter organizations in 1946, 1947 is challenging due to limited data from that era. And without it being said, Black Greek letter organizations experienced a substantial growth during and after World War II as they became key networks for African American college students. And to recognize the legacy of our West Alabama Greek letter organizations, we begin with, only fittingly, the Delta Phi Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha. Delta Phi Lambda boasts a rich history of involvement in the civic affairs of West Alabama. And they are guided by the belief that where there is unity, their strength. A group of alpha men educated at various colleges and universities across the Southeast came together in 1947 in Tuscaloosa, and following a petition to the 35th General Convention in Atlanta, Georgia, 7 members known as the Chapter Jewels officially chartered the Delta Phi Lambda chapter on February 15, 1949. They were Jesse L. Anderson, James W. Beatty, Maceo T. Brown, Hezekiah T. Kostarpin, W. Richard Jones, William L. Kimber, and Herman B. Smith, Jr. Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, established here in Tuscaloosa June 4, 1949, as the Beta Pi Sigma chapter. The Tuscaloosa Alumni Chapter Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, established as the Delta Delta Sigma chapter, was incorporated May of 1950 to develop and implement programs that support the organization's 5 programmatic thrusts, which are economic development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement. The Beta Eta Zeta chapter, Zeta Phi Beta sorority, since its inception in 1956 here in Tuscaloosa, has continuously made a difference by being an integral part of the Tuscaloosa community through its sponsorship and support of educational, civic, and social activities. The Alpha Tau chapter of Omega Psi Phi fraternity was established in Tuscaloosa in 1957. You all got us in that one, Stan. Yeah, you all, we're the original 1911, though. The Tuscaloosa Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity held its inaugural meeting at the home of Dr. J.W. Robinson, a long-standing physician and civic leader in Tuscaloosa. Notably, he served as a physician at Stillman College for over 36 years, often charging minimal fees, or most of the time providing his services for free of charge. The chapter was granted its charter on December 13, 1958. The next year following Omega Psi Phi. The charter members were Moses Godfrey, Jr., the Hughes brothers, Fred and Robert T. Brother Robert T. Hughes went on to become the 5th polemarch of the Southern Province. And let me take a moment right here to stop and recognize one of the charter members who is here today, and that would be Brother Fred Hughes. Brother Hughes, will you take a stand and be recognized? We thank you, Brother Hughes, for your continued and unswerving service to Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity and the Tuscaloosa Alumni Chapter. Samuel Ivory, Reuben Little, Hugh P. Martin, Coach Lou C. Mims, who's the football field is named after, John T. Parker, Johnny J. Purder, Early Rich, and Dr. J.W. Robinson, Johnny C. Washington, and Alfred Willis. The Eta Xi Omega chapter, or we call it Eta Z Omega, chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, was chartered November 11, 1961. The chartering ceremony was held at the Benjamin Barnes branch of the YMCA. There were 14 charter members, which are Ruby Cobb, Alice Epps, Yvonne Fluker, Imogene Holmes, Eula Danzy, Irene Hubbard, Lula Hudson, Francis Moffitt, O.C. Sanders, Ophelia Underwood, Minnie Washington, Wilma D. Webb, Nancy Williams, and Mary R. Wright. Members who immediately transferred into the chapter were Evelyn Rich, who happened to be my fourth grade teacher at the time, Mary Pendleton, and Evelyn Weisinger. The Epsilon Mu Sigma chapter of Sigma Gamma Rho sorority, established November 8, 1980, here in Tuscaloosa. Their commitment to service is expressed in their slogan, greater service, greater progress. The Northport Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity received this charter on March 17, 1981. The mission of the chapter was to promote the fraternity's purpose of achievement and to expand and broaden service in the West Alabama area. About a month ago, Brother Tony Hunter offered me an intriguing perspective. He noted that while Tuscaloosa and Northport are separated by water, they're united by a bridge that connects us. And that really resonated with me. I don't know if he got that from the Chamber of Commerce or not, but it was deep. And Brother Hunter, if that's yours, offer it to the chamber, but for a price. And that analogy symbolizes the foundation of our chapters. The charter members of Northport alumni are James P. Adams, PhD, Earl Blossom, Kenneth Stretch Butler, Gary Roscoe Cook, John Cox, Ed German, Dr. Bobby E. Hill, Dan Kemp Jr., Constance V. Payne, Roosevelt Shelton, Kappa Joe M. Smith, that became his real name, Kappa Joe, Joshua W. Sykes Jr., Johnny Travick, Eugene Barron, and certainly with us this afternoon, Joe Stringer, who's a charter member of Northport alumni. Iota Phi Theta, founded September 19, 1963 at Morgan State University, recently joined the West Alabama Divine Nine. Although we're here to celebrate the founding of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, K.A. Psi, Sweet Phi Nu Pi, Frat So Nice, had to name it twice. I want to take a moment to recognize all the Black Greek letter organizations present here in Tuscaloosa. Thank you for your leadership and your invaluable service you provide to our community. Regardless of the colors that you wear or the letters that you wear, we all are united in purpose. We hold a significant responsibility to our community and to the generations that will follow us. And Tuscaloosa has greatly benefited from the service and the leadership that we all offer this wonderful community. As we gather to celebrate the 114th year of Kappa Alpha Psi, a milestone steeped in rich history and great tradition, today stands as a significant day for all of us. It is a moment to reflect on our achievements and the legacies that we've built together. for a moment, just consider the challenges faced by those 10 young men at Indiana University, whose parents and grandparents had just emerged from slavery, confronting adversity with unwavering resolve. Try to imagine what it was like for Elder Watson Diggs as he realized the need for black students to defend themselves in a disrespectful environment and to confront the problems of that place and at that time. And remember, at that time, Indiana was the hotbed for another, I'll call it fraternity, but the KKK. Just imagine what they were going through at that time in that environment. Or better yet, imagine what challenges in 1958 Brother Moses Godfrey, Fred Hughes, Robert T. Hughes, Samuel Ivory, Reuben Little, Hugh P. Martin, Lou Mims, John T. Parker, Johnny J. Purder, Early Rich, Dr. J.W. Robinson, Johnny C. Washington, and Alfred Willis. Just imagine what they faced as members of the Kappa alumni chapter here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And you know those brothers were trying to create a swag that this community was missing. They wanted to instill a quality of confidence never witnessed before. They wanted to crystallize a vision made clear. In closing, I would like to share a poem with you. It's entitled, "What Would the Founders Think?" What would our founders of all Greek organizations think if they saw us today? Would they be proud, or would they shake their heads in dismay? Would they see the principles they believed in our daily walk? Or would they be disappointed in the trash we talk? Would they look from above with a smile on their face? Or would they look down in shame and disgrace? Would they see that sisterhood and brotherhood was still within us? Or would they see backstabbing, fighting, and all kinds of fuss? Would they see us willingly accept all correction? Or would they see us mounting an objection? Would they see us loving our Greek lettered sisters and brothers, saying no matter what color we wear, we must stand for each other? Would they see that service was still number one? Or would they see that it was replaced by the need to have fun? Would they see you stepping with pride on Friday night and then up early on Saturday to help the homeless plight? Or would Saturday morning meet you snuggled in bed while the needy is ignored and our community unfed? Would they see that scholarship was still our priority? Or are we more concerned with pledging the cool sorority or fraternity? Would they look at your pledges and be filled with memories? Or would they gasp in horror as you twist their history? Would they see us graduating at the top of our class? Or are we barely scraping by with just enough to pass? So I ask you, my generation, what will our legacy be? Will we be the ones to bring our organization to its knees? Will we sit idly by and watch our legacy ripped from our hearts? Or will we stand up and say that it's time we do our parts? Will I see you on the front row at our next business meeting? Are you financial, active, and ready to have delicate seating? Imagine what could happen if collegiates took their rightful place. Would the founders then look down on us with smiles on their faces? Imagine if we remember our founding principles and the oath we said. and keep it ever close to us in our hearts and in our heads. I think that then the founders would look down their hearts about to burst as they say to each other, hey, don't they remind you of us? So the next time you put on your letters, before you move or blink, with every action, look up and wonder, what would the founders think? Thank you for having me. It was truly a pleasure. One love, one fraternity, one Kappa. Thank you.
When all brothers remain standing, Brother Range, we're so thankful for you. Thank you for the words that you've imparted on us to ensure that we continue to remain involved, informed, and invested within our community. You've truly charged us to achieve more and take achievement to the next level and move us forward, onward, and upward in Christ Jesus within unity. Please come forward. For what you've imparted in us, we want to sow something into you. We want to show it and we want to sow it. We thank God for you, Brother Range. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Whatever this token of appreciation is in this envelope, I would like to actually donate it to the Northport Alumni's Scholarship Fund.
Brother Raines, thank you for continuing to sow. We definitely appreciate it.